In this video, we will look at how the Loco shed was made for the Gasworks. The Gasworks has its own dedicated shunter, a diminutive 040, and it needed a home. Our track plan allowed for a Loco shed, as shown here in the middle of the loop. After a lot of searching around the internet, we found this, a small Loco shed at a Midlands colliery. Just right for what we needed. Very simple, a little run down, and the water tank on the left looked like a repurposed boiler of some kind. It would fit our setting nicely. The footprint of the shed had to be carefully worked out. Obviously it had to be clear of the shed road, but it was also crammed inside the loop line, which required one corner of the shed to be chamfered, and then only achieved limited clearance to passing vehicles. The internal layout of the shed had to have space to maintain the engine, with a workbench positioned at the left-hand end, as well as some storage in the side building at the top. As can be seen in this and the next photo, there isn't much space to spare. The water tank was moved to the end of the shed. First, the shed was drawn and modelled in CAD. Here is the front view, showing the main doors and the store to the right. Note how the left door at the bottom has part of a plank missing. This detail was copied from the original. The side view, showing the windows. The back of the shed, showing the access door and the window by the workbench. Finally, the other side view, showing the store. The parts were broken down into two trays for 3D printing. Now let's briefly look at how to make a section of brick wall in CAD as a 3D model. First, make a solid block, shown here in green. Then on the front face, draw straight lines, shown in red, along the middle of mortar joints for the brick pattern. Then use a simple program to create cylinders of 0.25 mm diameter from each of the straight lines. Then use the CAD editing tools to deduct the cylinders from the face of the solid block. This provides a quick and easy way to make your own brick pattern sheets, in particular for things like arches over windows and doors. This technique was used to make the brick walls for the Loco shed. The base was 3D printed, but for strength this was supported on a piece of 3 mm aluminium plate. Now let's look at the build sequence. First, the steps and concrete walls. Then the brick walls, followed by the columns and internal beams. Add the wooden panels at the ends and around the store. Inside there is a water pipe to supply the Loco. Next, the galvanized iron sheets to fill in the side walls. The doors. To support the roof, there are trusses and purlins. Then on go the sheets for the roof, capped off with a vent and finished with barge boards, giving the final building. Now let's take a quick look at the water tank. The tank was a repurposed boiler, as is evidenced by the plates over the gauge glass flanges and the fire hole door. The brickwork was made using the technique described earlier. The round tank was broken into 3 segments for each ring, and these were arranged to be upward facing in the 3D print tray, as this gives the best quality finish. Next, the shed interior. It was decided to decorate the inside of the shed, as the doors would be open and the interior would be visible. A selection of typical bits and pieces were designed in CAD and printed. These included drills, vices, jacks, and numerous Loco spare parts, like fire bars. The spanners were tiny, about quarter the size of a grain of rice. Oil cans, buckets, and spare brake blocks. Shelving, lifting blocks, and bottle jacks. All of this clutter was distributed around the interior of the shed. Now let's take a look at the finished model. Here you have the workbench at the back of the shed, scattered with clutter and tools. At least the spanners are hung up tidily on the wall. Over on the right there is one of the storage shelves, full of spares for the Loco. Round the back there is the water tank, perched up on top of the brick walls. And by the back door there is a heap of burnt fire bars waiting for disposal. Finally, for our little 040, home sweet home. That concludes our presentation about the Loco shed. Thank you for listening, and we hope it was of interest to you.